So we're used to, a little bit quicker tempo. Keep in mind, first of all, who should you listen to for this tune? I mean, who should you listen to before trying to play this tune? No, not in this case. Anybody know who plays this? Which band performed this tune?
Glenn Miller. I sit on stage.
Glenn Miller. Hello. Okay, so right with the Glenn Miller band, it's it's funny. They changed it because I remember when I played this very chart in high school. The parts still say medium foxtrot tempo. Not medium bounce is what yours says, but it used to say medium foxtrot tempo, which is a really good reminder of what era in jazz this tune comes from. It comes from the swing era, right? And the Glenn Miller band is a swing band, yes, but in the whole spectrum of jazz bands in the swing era, you've got what referred to as the hot bands, like Basie's band, Ellington's band, that were more improvisation focused, and then you had bands that were referred to as the sweet bands. So Glenn Miller is more in that camp. So his style of music was designed to be really kind of enjoyed at parties. This was the pop music of the day. So Glenn Miller would have been in the same camp as I don't know, your Beyonce or whoever, in terms of 2017 music. This was one of the biggest swing bands of the era. So it's dance music. That's why I like to think of it as medium foxtrot. So remember, it's not a bebop tune. It's not. That's cool too, but not for this tune. So it is. You got to think, folks kind of dancing around the dance floor, having a good time. So to kind of moderate the tempo. Okay? This is one of the keys. You have to move some part of your body. When he gives you the count in before the tune, you're already locking in right now. You should already be thinking about, okay. And think about what your part is and how it's going to fit into that groove, right? Okay? A 1, 2. I'll give you a 1, 2. A 1, 2, 3. Okay. So. Okay, sing that with me, saxes. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Okay, that was easy. Let's play it that way. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3. That was infinitely better than what I just heard a moment ago, but I think we can get even a little bit better. We're going to do a tongue stop. So in classical repertoire for saxophone, you might play right. So even a short note has a little bit of a ambiance, a ring after the end of the note. So if I play something short, it's like top. But in this case, dit. So you see what I did? I'm putting my tongue in the back of my teeth, and in this case, it's going to be you're going to have a mouthpiece and a reed in the way, so it's going to go dit, and you're going to stop the reed. So just make that ending clear. Let's end together. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. very end. Do da do da do da da. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3. Sorry. Start at the beginning again. 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3. Articulation was cool. You didn't play in time with me that time, no, because we're thinking about the articulation. So you don't have to think about it. You just have to move a little bit. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3. Cool. So that's what we're going for on that opening. And when this is a challenging tune in part because that setup, if we don't lay it down clearly from the get-go, then they're like, where do I come in? So cool. That's going to make it real easy for the brass to know where their part comes in. So let's just hear the brass. You come in and measure 4, right? Yes? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's sing that line. Da da did da do do da 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 do. Cool. Sing it. 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It kind of sounded like that when you played it too. Da da did da do da do. And we all have to sing it together. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, just because we're going to put an instrument in your hands, you think you don't sing anymore or something like that. Who plays more than one instrument in this ensemble? No, but I mean just in life. Who plays more than one instrument? Well, me too. No, everybody should have their hands raised because you all have instruments in your hands, and you also have this built-in instrument right here, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's not even counting like those instruments, right? So use your voice, even if it's hoarse and kind of terrible sounding like mine. Let's try 4 again. Measure 4 trumpets and brass. Let's do that. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, try it again. 1. Get everybody together. What? 4. You know what? Yeah, let's sing it. After I ranted on you about that. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, we're gonna do da do dit, and the reason I'm gonna do that is because the das, the upbeats, get emphasis. Why? Because it's jazz. Yeah. Well, in fact, because it's a swing style, right? If you were playing a funk chart, then it'd be a different kind of situation. But triplet, 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 triplet. That's the subdivision of the beat. And do da 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 do dit dit dit. So that's what I did with the saxes, and you guys are da do dit da do da do da do da do da do dit dit. I'm sorry, do da do da do dit. Here we go. Brass singing. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, now let's play it. 1. 5 beats. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's try that again. I know you can play better. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, cool. Let's put that together. And remember, we're establishing the tempo in the first 8 bars here. So we really have to, I know I'm pulling the tempo way back from what you're used to, but Yeah, just if you tap your foot and lock in and feel triple it, triple it, triple it, you're going to be fine. Everybody at the beginning of the chart. A 1, 2, a 1, 2. So every time you have the top note in your triad that you play there, it gets a little extra push. But it has to be, the articulation has to be legato. So if we get to ta 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 ta, then it turns into ta 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 ta, which sounds like Lawrence Welk, which is not necessarily what we want. You know, it gets a little too hokey. So so yeah, that's kind of what we're going for. And again, punching each one of the top notes in the phrase. Let's try that, just saxes. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, cool. So can you play it for us? Because you're doing a really good job of accenting those top notes. 1, 2, 3, Yeah. So that's what we're going for. I know it's a little weird as a section player. The inner parts are sometimes a little funky, right? So, but we still have to match where she's accenting those. Cool? Can we try it with the rest of the section? Yeah, in fact, they're marked with an accent, right? Dig, 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 dig. Okay, let's try that. Sax. 2, 1, 2, 3, Okay, so the ones comment I'll make is we're going to try and get rid of any separation. Okay? So the challenge there for you is your top note's an F, right?
Yes.
Okay, so and then you've got to go across the break to go back down to A, right? So practice that transition, like smooth out the technique, because it seems like that it's broken up a little bit in part because we're worried that maybe that low A is not going to come out, right? So I think if you smooth out the technique there, it's going to be more legato, which is what we're going for. Okay. Saxes with drums. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, Okay, cool. You're not looking at the part. Good. Okay. Just play your right or swing pattern that you play along with that. 1, 2, ready, Okay, cool. So I would play the tradition would dictate 4 on the floor on your bass drum, feathering the bass drum exactly like that. Yeah, and the reason for that is it's going to go along with walking bass, or in this case, walking tuba bass, right? Okay, so yeah, the 4 on the floor helps the dancers know where the beat is. So can you try that for me? A one, a two, a 1, 2, 3, Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, and it's, it's almost inaudible, the bass drum. We feel it more than we hear it. Okay, but yeah, that's exactly what we're going for. Let's try it with everybody. At A. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, Okay, brass. Sing your hits at A. You come in at second bar of A. So I'm going to count you in there. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That's and a 3, but yeah. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, one more time. Sing it one more time. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Da. Right? So we'll do dit da for that. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Dit da. Dit da. Dit da. Dit da. And it's the I kind of messed up the first one, but the cutoff is as important as the interest, right? So let's try A with and you have a bass part, right?
Yes.
Okay, so can you play with us at A? A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, Cool. Yeah, we started to get it, and thank you. You held it all the way to B4. Said, okay, lead trumpet be damned. I'm going to play all the way to B4 because that's what you guys said to do. So that's right. Yeah, and everybody listened and we adjusted, right? So that's kind of what this music is about. It's teamwork because I'd say jazz is a team sport. We're all working to try and serve the music together. So if you guys fall short a little bit, then maybe he can pick you up and you listen and you hear, oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Hold it all the way to B4. Cool. That sounds better already, just because our concept of what those hits is supposed to sound like is different. Because it's not fa, fa, it's dit, da, right? You have a specific thing in mind. Where does that come from? Am I just pulling this out of thin air? I'm telling you guys, okay, so it's got to be a legato articulation, and you got to accent the top note, and I'm saying, we got to play it slower, and where does all that information come from? Yeah, how do we know that? I mean, how do we know to do these things? Well, I mean, there's no like cheat sheet in the conductor's score or anything like that, or in any of your parts that tells you that. We learn by listening to the music. Yeah. So that's why my first question when you come in is, okay, have we checked out the original recording? Have we checked out the Glenn Miller Orchestra? When we're talking about jazz, we're dealing with an oral tradition. Do you know what that means when I say some oral tradition? Oral as an ear. Yeah. So an oral tradition means that this is music that it has to be passed down by ear. Even though, we have written scores that we're reading for a swing era chart like this. In order to play the parts effectively, in order to get the style, you have to listen to the style. Now, here's the hidden secret. That's true for any music that you play. So, if for myself, if I'm going to play In the Mood, or if I'm going to play the Glazunov Concerto, which is like a classical saxophone piece, right? Or if I'm going to play giant steps, the first thing I'm going to do before going to try to learn that piece is do what? Listen to it. Yeah, get a professional recording of it, or better yet, 3 or more, and check out what the song's supposed to sound like, so that I have a clear concept in mind. Remember, that's key. We have to have a sound concept in mind before we begin playing. That's why I'm asking you to sing the lines before you play them. Because, like on "In the Mood," for example, on that sax line at A, I'm recognizing that there's maybe some technical limitations that you have to work around to get to be completely legato, but you can sing it, right? Yeah. So when you have the concept firmly implanted in your mind, then you know how to realize that. That's really the whole. If there were a methodology for jazz, it's for learning to play jazz. It starts with listening. So the assignment, you didn't know you were getting homework when you came in today, but the assignment for each one of you is to find 3 players on your instrument, jazz players. Hey, there you go. There's a good start. What about 3 for alto?
I know Dave Koss.
Dave Koss is an alto player, but I'm saying, like, don't just like pull 3 names out. Like, you got to take those 3 names and like, okay, John Coltrane. So Blue Train, Giant Steps, My Favorite Things, A Love Supreme. Like, start to learn some of his music by just getting a hold of albums, or make your Spotify playlist and listen to that stuff. Because what happens is we absorb here, and then you emulate the style. So that's why I'm saying, don't just listen to "In the Mood." Don't just listen to the Glenn Miller recording. When you're at home, put that in the headphones and practice your part along with the beat. That seems like it would make sense, right? Practice the part along with the recording, because you're going to realize, I'm holding that over longer than they do, or I'm not accenting that the same way that the Glenn Miller band does. And what that's going to do for you is you're using the best model of "In the Mood" possible as your starting point for developing the concept of the tune, right? Which is what I'd always want to do. So, regardless of whether it's jazz band or concert band, start with a recording. I want to. I'm about out of time. You guys have a lot of great things going for you. You've got, first of all, 2 bands in the program, right? 2 jazz bands in the program. And so this is a pretty young group. Yeah. So we're playing music, we're getting the notes and rhythms. It really comes down to style, and also you're going to hear on the judges' comments, intonation. The ballad, which we didn't get to, the challenge. I think ballads are the hardest thing to play in music. Slow tempos are hard to play, and a lot of times, whether it's in jazz band, we're playing a ballad, or playing the second movement of a symphony, we tend to, that's not technical, that's not going to be that hard for me to play. Why are ballads hard, though? You have to add more detail, so we have to think about the shape of the line, and we should think about that even in a fast tempo, but there's not as many notes going on to make it interesting, right? So what else? Okay, that's all like big concept stuff, yeah, big picture stuff. But I'm thinking about just like basic stuff like tone production, intonation, ensemble playing. Like if my tone is just kind of okay, that's a much more glaring flaw in a ballad than it is in an up-tempo tune, right? Because if I've got a lot of notes going by, that kind of distracts from maybe a mediocre tone. Or if I'm, if I've got notes in my upper register tend to be really sharp, because I play the saxophone, right? So if those tend to be really sharp, then they're going by fast enough at a faster tempo where it's maybe not as noticeable. But now if I've got to play, a ballad, 1, 2, one of those real slow dragging ballads, and it's like, okay, now all of a sudden that 15-cent sharp is really, really apparent, right? So that's where we go back to fundamentals on music. We have to go back and think about, okay, what am I practicing in my time at home? Am I practicing long tone? Am I practicing with the tuner and paying attention to where my pitch is? And here's the most important one. When it comes to intonation, am I listening to the other people in the band? Because I can be perfectly in tune, but if the rest of the band plays 10 cents sharp, guess what? I'm wrong, right? So it's all relative to the people around you in the ensemble. We have to listen to one another and play with the people in the room. And the cool thing about that, the thing that makes jazz so much fun, is we listen intently and we make musical connections with everybody in the room. So you guys have a really unique opportunity here to do something cool musically and to make those musical connections with one another. So enjoy it, have fun with it.